Welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about Ssangsu Geombup Shipban, Form 10, Part 1. Yeah. Yeah. Form 10 and Form 12 both have a very specific thing about it. So they share a quality in that they have a very specific situation that you're in. So Form 12, we are in a hallway. So most likely it's just us, or if we do have allies, they're kind of way back there. It's mostly just us in a hallway fighting down like a horde of people, right? So thinking about like, Leonidas again in that strait, right? Form 10 also has a similar attribute. So this is a lot more specific, which makes it kind of more fun. But allegedly, we are in knee-deep water. Sure, right? So that's going to dictate our footwork for sure, right? So we're not going to take these long strides. If we do just take normal steps, they're more likely to be these smaller steps. If we spin, which we will, it's not going to be again these big swooshing motions. It's going to be a much tighter kind of situation. In addition to that, it's also going to affect how we swing our sword. So I would invite you to think for yourself why would swinging in probably salt water affect my swordsmanship specifically. So let's have some fun with that before we actually get into the form. So with that, because there's a pause button, you can pause and you can think. Let's take a look. Form 10, like Form 5, we have spidey senses and we know someone's behind us, right? So theoretically, trying to give us as much credence as we can, right? So if we're in knee-deep water, we probably can hear them swish, 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 getting ready to attack, right? So maybe. That's why I'm not a voice actor, because this was me going through water with swish, swish, swish. But we have an idea that someone is behind us. Now, before, right, Form 5, we did just a massive crosscut just to make them back off, and then we engage with them, right, with stabby stabs. This one, we're trying to be a little more aggressive. So notice we're doing fewer and fewer of those big clear motions as we progress in forms, and we're aiming for more things that are more likely to hit. Again, not anticipating it's hitting necessarily, but more likely to hit, right? So the idea is someone's behind us. So instead of doing a cross cut, we're going to do one of our more powerful cuts, our diagonal cut, right? So the idea is grab our sword, because otherwise it's not a sword fight anymore. From here, we're going to step our right foot back. So without the sword work, we're going to be stepping back. You can even cheat a little bit and go this way. I don't know if you can even see that over here. And then turn to face them. More traditionally, I think we usually see step, turn, and as we draw our sword, then we lunge forward. However you really want to do that, right? So from here, we're going to draw essentially across or up the body, right? Not straight up, but a little bit of a cross. Step back. As I pivot, I'm going to bring this over my right shoulder. Here, I'm going to grab, and we're going to our sorose, big old diagonal cut, right? So again, so from the side, the footwork is a little bit more loosey-goosey. So again, at this point, we're much higher level. They kind of anticipate you know how to step behind you and move, as opposed to make sure you step directly back, turn, shift, turn, and back. That'd be ridiculous, but they're letting you know, like, hey, at this point, you're technically a black belt, right? If you're doing Form 10, so you'll be like, you can do it. So it's behind you, step, turn, grab, big dive cut. So the next movement, so theoretically, if I've done a successful strike, they have been hit by a more powerful strike, I'm going to still try to finish the job with a horizontal thrust. So one thing to keep in mind, because I believe this is the first time we do horizontal thrust, is target area, right? So up until this point, we have mostly done vertical strikes, right? So we're doing Form 5, vertical, and then we do like a parry and a lot of fun stuff. This one is specifically horizontal, and it's aiming for the heart. So it's to what degree this matters is probably more up to other people to practice on like actual ribs. But the theory behind it is I want to slide between the ribs. So I'm going to be having my blade horizontal and trying to aim for the heart. Now, I don't want to get too graphic with this one because the next movement is also going to help you with this one. Remember, I don't know how far I should get in the weeds with this. So yes, you can puncture the heart, but also there's a lot of nice arteries around it. And notice that the sword is curved, right? It's going to naturally probably curve past it, going deeper in this way. The next motion is going to be a spin crosscut, which is going to finish cutting this way, right? So theoretically, there's a nice little artery that comes up from the heart that if you missed the puncture, you can get in with a crosscut. Anyway, we'll see if that's too much detail for YouTube. Not that I'm monetized yet, so we'll see. But the idea is we're here, we cut. I'm going to step past him. So again, imagine he's here. Again, real life, I'll be probably moving off to the side, stab. Again, worst case scenario is he's still moving. So step, I think about thinking in teidose. I'm going to bring that back foot in as I thrust behind me in bomse, thrusting towards the heart like so. So again, from a different angle, in the event that helps, right? So we're here, we draw, we cut, we step, again, aiming that tip in. You can think more like an arc if you want to, or you want to aim first, you can. Driving this hip back as I thrust towards the heart. So from there, the idea is, if I was successful, it is now in the chest somewhere. I can do some more damage while I'm also getting out of there, right? So I like this part because like in sparring matches, especially as well, a lot of people, when they make a strike, whether it lands or not, they tend to stay in that area, which don't, right? Don't do that. So this motion I actually quite like in terms of keeping your distance as well as maintaining a threat. So the idea is we've thrusted. So if that's 9 degrees, that's 180 degrees, that's 135, or if you like radians, right? Pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 4. So we're going to go to 3 pi over 4. We're going to go into a short stance, pulling it out or cutting it across. Crosscut, keep the sword relative where it is. 1, 2, crosscut. Now, notice I did that really, really slowly. You can imagine, don't run away. Don't run away slowly. So I just want to make sure I have space for this one. So if I'm here, pop, it's 1, 2, right? So notice it was a much tighter spin, theoretically, because water, right? So I can't have, not that you would ever do something like that, but because we're in water, we have to be really tight with our motions. One small note on that draw is, again, we're in knee-height water. When we do our diagonal cut, it's not going to go past the knee. So the idea is it cuts up until here, about knee level, and it's going to wrap around for that thrust. So theoretically, despite the fact we're going to be getting theoretically maybe some blood on it and all that fun stuff, apparently getting your sword in water is a no-no in the beginning of the form. So that's just one way that you're kind of changing what you do in the form based on your surroundings, right? So you're going cut and then slightly above knee, and that does sort of help the way you can move around for that secondary thrust, but keep that in mind. Playing with the tempo a little bit, right? So theoretically, again, we cut, we thrust. I don't know why I moved over here because I have to go over there next, right? So we thrust, right? We're going to go off to our side, 1, 2, and from here, we're going to go 180, now with a vertical stab, short stance stab. I'm going to face you, dear camera, defense. So, first of all, what are we doing here, right? So, we've cleared our space. This is me, first of all, surveying the area because we can kind of just check what's up while having an active threat being waved around me, right? Theoretically, there was someone behind me. This I don't love because this is the only attention they're going to get. Theoretically, I'm successful with that. So again, remember the vertical stab. That's either engaging someone's sword, like we did in Form 5, or we're aiming for the clavicle and we rise up. So what's nice about that, in terms of landing a strike, is if I make contact, I can still slide up. I have an entire curved sword going up against the side, right? So theoretically, that's all you need is to make contact, slide one way or the other. We're just going to have it go straight up. Or if you're super accurate, going on the jaw to the human off switch, stop. And you're going to turn towards our new opponent over this way. So that's the theory behind the first third of the form, roughly, right? Is spidey senses behind you, or this being able to hear something behind you. But now we've introduced the idea of that horizontal thrust, right? Granted, we did do our reverse thrust this way in Form 6. That's a little bit different, but that's the idea. So that's it so far for Form 10, right? So Form 10 is a fun one because of the story kind of wrapped around it as well. It also introduced some new stab mechanics, right? So I'm not sure to what degree I should go into that sort of thing. Again, this is a martial arts channel, and it's supposed to be talking about application and what these moves are doing, and that's what you do. But a main takeaway from this one is to think about, again, your footwork, as well as when you would stab a certain orientation, right? So notice we have our vertical stab. We're going for mostly a headshot, which chest into the head, not go, you get the idea. Versus if you're trying to aim between the ribs, you want to be able to turn the blade as such. So things to keep in mind, maybe things that were obvious beforehand, but maybe sometimes it takes someone saying something stupid in order to be like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. So hopefully I was that person, so yay. But with that, make sure you stay safe, stay humble, and keep training.